Welcome to the KINJAZ Podcast. Here we will discuss dance, life, and whatever the we want.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to KINJAZ Movement in the Shadows. I'm your host, Ben.
And I'm Anthony.
And as always, we have really cool people in the pod. Really excited for today's episode. We have executive producer at Walt Disney Studios. She is a manager in the Representation, Inclusion, Strategy, and Engagement Department, aka RISE, where their focus is to showcase storytellers with authentic stories that share a common experience among people worldwide. You might recognize her incredible voice recently from the Fox reality game show I Can See Your Voice, where she crushed the cover of Christina Aguilera's Reflection. That was sick. You may recognize her many viral videos on TikTok. We have co-host of the Sweet or Savory podcast alongside AJ Raphael. Shout out AJ. And recent Forbes 30 Under 30 honoree.
Damn.
We have Alyssa Navarro in the pod. You have been unlocked.
Oh my gosh, what an intro.
I do my
You did your
I
research.
do my stalking.
We're girls.
I was like, the whole title and everything.
I do my best to do my stalking homework, and
He's a good stalker.
I'm a pretty good stalker.
I'm a good stalker too.
You have to be. When you do stuff like this, you just kind of have to get there.
Yeah.
But Alyssa, thank you so much. We know we've been trying to get this one going for a bit. We had some, scheduling things and then throw some COVID difficulties and things like that.
You're the most scheduled chess we've had to play so far.
Oh my God.
Worth it.
Thank you for being flexible.
The last time you said you were going to have to cancel again, I was like, I'm going to wait because I had a feeling that it might still be on. And then my gamble was correct. Yeah.
Yes, you were right. It ended up working out. Thank you for being patient with me.
No, it's all good.
I'm trying to do my best to balance like the 9 to 5 and like doing like creative stuff. It's been challenging, but thanks for having me.
We made it happen.
We are extremely honored. Let's just get into it right away. We like to always just get into and dive into just kind of like the origin story, just so everybody kind of gets to learn, even for us, who you are, where you came from, why you came from, blah, blah, blah. So if you could just jump right into the Alyssa origins.
Oh, God. Well, I was born. I'm just kidding.
Go there. We can start there.
No, I mean, I guess my story, I'm Filipino American, singer, actor, host. You already kind of went into the intro, but you mentioned like the diversity and inclusion. I'm super passionate about like representation, diversity and inclusion, and also am also equally passionate about like the creative stuff that I'm doing too. So also like the singing, performing, all that jazz. Yeah.
All that jazz.
All
So let's go ahead and get right into a singing sample. Go ahead.
Oh
3,
my God.
2,
Gotta warm
1.
up. Who is that girl I see? I did not plan that. I did not plan that.
Mi corazón just melted
Oh my
right now.
gosh.
Wow.
Holy smokes.
That was amazing.
Well, thank you for that.
Oh my.
We didn't think you were
We're going to re-record the Kinjaz Podcast intro.
That's the new theme
tune.
song.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I can re-record you guys. I'll make you guys a song.
Snap.
A new intro song.
Be careful
A
what
jingle.
you promise, as we will take you up on those offers.
So RISE. Let me get this right again. Representation, inclusion, strategic, strategy,
Strategies.
and engagement.
Yes.
Okay. So
Yes.
how did that come about? How did you get into that? Like, tell us that story.
Yeah. Okay. So to back it up a little bit, I started working at Disney first as a performer. I started as Mulan and Mickey and the Magical Map. Actually, before that, I was in this show called Fantasmic. I don't know if you heard
Love
of
that
it,
show.
but
We are Disney buffs here.
Yeah.
We've seen many of
Well,
those
actually, you're like
shows.
super buff Disney, but we are big fans.
we can
Yes.
equally be huge super Disney.
We're all
Yes,
buff.
yes, we're super
Super
buff.
buff.
Super buff.
But I was in that show and I played a little monkey and a pirate, and I was like a dancer on the boat, and then eventually got to play Mulan in a show called Mickey and the Magical Map.
Good
And
show.
I did that for like 8 years. But while I was kind of doing the performing thing, I started to realize like I was going to other auditions, and I was super grateful to have like the Disney job, but every single time I would go to an audition, it was like there were only certain like roles that I could play.
Audition for what?
For like Broadway or like regional theater
Got it,
stuff.
yeah.
And because I felt like the opportunities were so limited, I was like, okay, I want to have like a backup plan in case this performing stuff doesn't work for me. So went to college, studied communications and marketing. And it wasn't ever my plan to go into the like diversity and inclusion stuff because that wasn't really like a job back then when I was in college. So I went into marketing and did marketing and was a marketing assistant for a few years, and then eventually worked my way into formerly our team was called multicultural audience engagement, and we were focused on like multicultural audiences. And now we've kind of shifted to being like representation and inclusion as a whole.
So what is the focus of the department? Like, are you guys content creation specifically to give visibility to different cultures and things like that?
Yeah, part of our team, my role on the team is to like oversee content. So I don't actually create the content, but we're like overseeing like all the stories that are coming out of the big Disney.
Walk us into I don't want to say day by day, but maybe like a quarterly or something, because I'm sure they're very like project based and stuff like that. But what is kind of like a month or a day or whatever in the life of Alyssa?
Yeah, my days are a lot of meetings and a lot of like talking with creatives and then talking back with like with our consultants. So we work with cultural consultants to kind of like review like scripts and screenings of upcoming content that's coming out of the studios. And then we kind of take that back to our creatives at the company. And we're kind of like the bridge between both, like making sure that our content is being diverse, authentic, and accurate to like any communities that are being represented in those.
So like something's like not accurate or something like that. That's where you come in and like you're sitting down with a consultant and being like, okay, this is inaccurate, what's accurate, and then like maybe you're kind of the bridge to the content creator, the writer, or whatever, and being like, hey,
we're trying to bring in, you know, people and trying to make sure that we're ensuring like authenticity within the work that we're doing.
And is the content everything from short form to feature length?
Yeah, it can go from anything that's like digital, like stuff on social media, to like the films that end up coming out.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Well, for you to slide into not only that department, but to be an executive producer, like how do you go from Magical Map to sliding into
the EP on Disney? Like, that's
honestly,
amazing.
sometimes when I think about it, I'm like, I don't know how that happened. But so I was fortunate to be able to help start the program, this Disney Launchpad Shorts Incubator program.
Yeah, I saw that on Disney Plus.
Yeah, and so it's a program for it was a program for 6 underrepresented diverse directors to write and direct a short film for Disney Plus. And I was one of the executive producers. I helped kind of build the entire framework for what that program was going to look like. And it's really exciting because now that was for season 1, and there's a season 2 and a season 3 coming out as well, which I'm not as involved in for season 2 and season 3, but season 1 was like my bread and butter where I like really helped build the program.
What does that mean? Dive into that. What's the program?
Literally the program, it starts off with like basically like a few months of like boot camp, like film school boot camp for 6 directors. So backing it up a little bit, there was like an application process for like thousands of up and coming directors to be able to pitch their story for Disney Plus. So part of the process that I was involved in was going through all of the applications, going through all of their examples, their like scripts, reading through like thousands of applicants, and then finally helping choose. It was me and my boss at the time who chose the final 6. And those were the ones we were choosing to go through this program to finally put their, you know, creative story on Disney Plus. And so I was a part of the beginning stages when it was literally just an idea on like a thought that's one of my colleagues had, and she like really did the work within the company to get like, you know, funding and all of that stuff and all of the stakeholders needed. And then I came in and did a lot of the logistical, like operational stuff. So like going through the applications, setting up meetings with people, actually like calling the finalists, calling the semifinalists, setting up those interviews. So a lot of like the operation and logistics work.
Sounds like a lot of the stuff that you kind of found yourself rolling into were just things that when you probably never planned for, you didn't necessarily go to school for these things in particular, but you roll over into something that you're passionate about. You see an opening or a place where you feel like you can inject some, initially thoughts, but then also learn how to like carve out and create a department. And that it what I'm kind of hearing from you, it's coming from a place of just genuine things that you care a lot about.
Yeah.
I would imagine even from, music to, you mentioned dance, to a bit of acting, to now podcast. Like those are all just things that you just kind of roll into, just because you find yourself passionate about that.
Yeah.
So like with all of that, did you as a kid growing up, now, because I always get curious about like how do you go from being a kid who doesn't know what you want to do to finding yourself later in life doing all these kinds of things? Were you kind of always ambitious or exploring, like curious? Or were you that type of a kid?
Yeah, I would say so. And I am grateful to have parents that allowed me to like kind of figure out what I wanted to do and always ask questions like, well, what do you enjoy? What makes you happy? They're also practical and was like, make sure that this can make you money too. But they were always super like always into what I was into. Like they were very much helping me pursue what my dreams were. Very encouraging parents. So I think it started from there as a kid. Like they realized that at a very young age, I liked to sing. And so my dad like bought me a karaoke machine, like got me enrolled in dance lessons and acting classes and all of that. So it was really like, I thank my parents a lot for like seeing like what I enjoyed and then like helping push me in that direction. And I, that continued, throughout all my life, and not necessarily my parents pushing me to do things, but having the support that like maybe I didn't, go to school for this or know exactly what I was doing, but I felt supported to go through there. And then I would also say for like, you hit the nail on the head. It's like I didn't necessarily like plan for some of these things to happen, but I realized that I have a passion for it and then figured out what the steps were to get to like the next goal. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, your parents seem to be pretty progressive as Asian parents, because that's typically not the story.
Yeah, we're not jealous.
They are, yeah. I feel really grateful for them because I mean, they obviously also encouraged me to like study and make sure that I was on top of it. And I definitely had to go to college. That was like no ifs, ands, or buts. And I wanted to too, because education was always important for me. But they definitely like let me choose my path. Like it wasn't like you had to do this. And I was always encouraged to like do something that was practical and have a backup that was practical. But
what's practical?
Like having a corporate job is like practical.
You kind of got a corporate job.
I do have a corporate job. And that's still something that like I don't know if I want to keep forever, like the corporate thing.
Disney subscribes. You better watch
out. Yeah, I know. Maybe stop listening now. No, but like I feel like that's the path that most people think like once you go into something, you have to do it forever. And I've realized that that's just not always the case. Like you don't have to just because you're set. Like I totally thought after I got my job in marketing that I had to stay on that track and like take the steps. And like you always hear about climbing the corporate ladder and just to get to the top. But like I didn't necessarily do that. I mean, I did in some ways, like take, assistant jobs and then coordinator jobs. And then now I'm in a manager role. But I actually, instead of like really just like climbing, I just got to know people and I got to talk to them about what they love about their jobs and what they were passionate about it. And that's how I got to find out about the diversity and inclusion role, because it was something that I was deeply passionate about, but didn't know like how I would fit in. And then somehow there was an opening for the Disney Launchpad program and they were looking for a coordinator to help with operations and build the program. And I like raised my hand and said I was interested and went through the entire application process. And there I was. Yeah. And then I got to like be credited as executive producer. And that was really awesome and cool.
That is super cool.
Hey, water cheers real quick. That's props. You gotta give props.
Cheers.
Yes,
There it is. There it is. Props.
I think you seem like a very confident, sure of yourself type of person. And you laughed when I said that, which I'm curious. But like, I think it's tough, especially when you kind of pursue passions, right? Because you never really know what you're doing. You just think I'm passionate about it. I'll figure it out, and then as you're figuring it out, you learn stuff. But I'll even speak for myself. Like, it's always scary to pursue a passion, at least for me, because I'm like, I want to do it. I'm not really sure if I'm doing it right. I'm not sure if I'm doing it the best, but I want to do it so bad that I'm just going to keep going. And then, normally the harder you work at something, you become better at it. And then through that, you sort of find your confidence and find your footing in things. And then especially when you stepping into something from that's kind of more artistic into something that's a little bit more corporate. I don't know about you, but if I was going from dance to going into Disney, I would be like, I can't do that. That's corporate. I don't do corporate stuff. I don't want to mess up. I'm sure there's all kinds of expectations when you step into that arena, because over here we're just playing around over here. We just figure it out.
Playing around. You have a whole podcast here.
But that's just how I think about it. You know,
it's technically just the second bedroom in my apartment.
Oh my God.
Yeah, this is. If you guys don't know, we're inside of a bedroom essentially, but we
you
make
couldn't
it
tell.
work.
It looks like we're in a whiskey lounge.
Yeah, well, it's also that. It's also that. But my point is like, from where I sit, I'm just like, wow, so much accomplishment, so much, things that are worthy of praise and accolades. And I think when you kind of laughed or giggled a little bit when I said it, because you probably don't view yourself that way.
You got a strong aura.
Yeah,
I'm gonna throw that out there.
You really do.
Need to
Thank
sit down and be
Oh my gosh. Thank you. I appreciate that. No, I laugh because I feel like a part of me still struggles with, we all do, like imposter syndrome, but it's something I try to tell people that are younger than me or trying to achieve some of the goals that I've had is fake it till you make it, with a caveat of knowing what your goals are and then taking steps to make that goal happen, kind of backtracking, but knowing what the goal is so important for you to be able to actually achieve it.
That's
the
so
whole
good.
Forbes
Yeah.
thing was some crazy idea that I had that I never thought would happen. I put it on my vision board and I put it on my list.
You actually put it on your list?
I did.
You a G, dude.
Wow.
That's, you know what?
Wow.
I'm gonna put
Yeah.
Forbes
Put it
80
on
under
the-
80
Oh
on
my
there.
God,
I'm gonna
stop.
write that. Make sure I got a
I think I
chance.
can shoot for that one.
No, I'm a huge manifester, and I've always been that way, kind of, but I didn't realize what I was doing when I was younger. But more recently, I've been taking it more serious, putting things on a vision board, and then actually so me and my future sister-in-law, Jasmine Raphael, we've in the last 3 years.
Shout out Jasmine.
Shout out to Jasmine, amazing dancer, actor, singer too. We've been getting together at the beginning of each year and talking to each other about our goals. We literally sit in a coffee shop, map out what we want to accomplish for the year. And then I'm a visual person, so I also put it on a vision board, and I check in every few months of how am I doing? What are these things that I said I wanted to accomplish? How am I doing with that?
What's something on your vision board right now that you've yet to accomplish but you're going for?
Buying a house. That's a big one. Being a
Ooh, okay.
homeowner.
Does that mean you draw a house on the board?
There's a cutout. Actually, I do magazine vision boards, cutout stuff. And so there's a house in the center of it. That's the
Sick.
main goal
Wow.
of this year. Hopefully it happens. It will happen, yeah.
Okay, can we
That's
get
so
back
cool.
into the Forbes 30
Yes.
under
Yeah,
30?
let's not glaze over that one.
One incredible
Thank
in
you.
and of itself, but now I'm absolutely mind blown that you had manifested that. I've never heard of anybody. Well, maybe that's such a cool accolade. Straight up, I'm such a fangirl right now.
Stop. I'm a
But
fan.
when did you put that on your vision board, and then when did it happen?
I put it on my vision board in 2020, and then it happened in 2021.
Oh,
And
my.
The reason why
Whoa.
I even thought to do it is because one of the directors that is a part of the Disney Launchpad did it, and he got it. So he was a 2021 or a 2020 Forbes 30 under 30 honoree. And I talked to him. I didn't even ask him the steps, but I was wow, like that is a really awesome accomplishment. I wonder if I could do it too. And honestly, that's how I've kind of like viewed a lot of things in my life. I'm like, I've surrounded myself with people and I'm like, oh my gosh, they're doing this amazing, cool thing. Maybe it's attainable, and I make that a goal, and then I just go for it. Like without thinking of like, I could probably fail, but I'm just going to go for it. Like
Totally.
might as well.
Vision board. So that's something I've heard. Many people have a version of a vision board, and for our listening audience who may not know what that is, and for you, what is it, and then how do you approach manifesting something off of your vision board to come to life? Because it's not like you just put something up there and then it just pops up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So there are steps, at least steps that I take. So a vision board it can be different for everyone, but for me, it's a actual like board, like a physical board of like cutouts and things that are inspiring me for that year. But I also do a vision, like on the back of the vision board, I actually have actual goals like written out for like things that tie to the vision board. So for me, like the vision board is actually more inspirational, like visual photos. So like on mine, I have a house, I have like wedding stuff because I'm also getting married this year.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I also have, I can't remember exactly what my vision board, if I had it right in front of me, I could tell you exactly. But the big ones are like the house, the wedding, and then like finances, like getting that like super solid too.
Yeah. And you update this vision board regularly?
So I don't update the vision board, like the actual visuals, but I update like the goals. So on the back of the vision board, I actually have like a template where it has it written out by months, like by 3 months, by 6 months, by 9 months, by 12 months. These are the things that I want to achieve for the year.
Whoa, where did you
type A.
get the, no, I love it. Where did you get the inspiration for it? Or like, when did this start?
It started, I don't even remember exactly. I think like 3 or 4 years ago, I started doing vision boards. And I just started seeing people do it like online. There's this girl, she's a podcast host, and I listen to her podcast. Her name is Tanya Rad, and she does vision boards, and she was talking about it on her podcast. And one day I was like, oh, I want to try it. So I took like what she did and like made it my own.
Yeah. I think, so without trying to get all woo-woo, like magical, like you put this thing up and it magically appears.
Woo-woo magical?
Yeah,
I've
man.
never heard that before.
I like that.
Woo-woo.
Woo-woo.
It's all that like frou-frou weird stuff like that. Woo-woo.
Frou-frou.
Yeah, or frou-frou, whatever. Two vowel sounds and a consonant, whatever. Anyway, so I'm very much interested in, the concept of manifestation, but more so the psychology behind it. It's not a magic trick, and it's Tony Robbins. Well, there's a lot of versions of it, but where energy goes, where focus goes, energy flows. And the things that we most fill our minds with, we're going to move towards those things because we're always thinking about it. And it's kind of like one of those, like, you looking for a Tesla, and then all of a sudden you go outside, all you see is Teslas everywhere. It's not like Teslas just came out to like be in your eye line, but because you're constantly thinking about it, you're like, damn, why do I see Teslas everywhere?
Yeah.
And even with like our goals, whether that's a health goal, finance goal, whatever, when we constantly think about it, the things that we constantly think about, we constantly talk about. The things that you constantly talk about, you tend to kind of try to get your hands around.
Yeah.
And so I think the at least for myself, my understanding of manifestation is, and I believe this also kind of goes hand in hand with meditation too. You constantly meditate on specific things to either bring you to a peaceful state of mind or whatever that is. But eventually you will get closer to the thing that you're constantly seeing in front of you, constantly talking about, constantly thinking about. And I just believe that's just how it works, and it's not some crazy magical trick. It's just we've all experienced that in one way, shape or another in our lives, but it's now doing it with intention.
Exactly.
And yeah, I think that's just kind of how it works. And I have my own version. I just have my whiteboard that I just like look at every single day. And then I'll even have like little bubbles where I'll check stuff off as I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, I'm like, whoa, I checked off my entire thing. I guess like time to put some new visions up there or new goals,
That's
and
amazing.
I think, It's cool.
Forbes 80 under 80. You
Oh
what
my
I'm
God.
talking
shooting for it,
80
man.
under
We gotta
80.
get
I'm
it.
trying to
40 under
get there.
40, 50
Forbes,
under
if you're
50.
listening. No, I love it. Well, yeah, let's talk about like shifting through work, creativity, engagement, quarantine,
Mm.
sanity,
Oh my gosh.
like all the things.
Yeah.
I think everybody has their way that they got through or are getting through this time. Thankfully, things are kind of opening up, and here we
Mhm.
are.
Yeah,
It's
getting better.
yeah, it's getting better. What are some of the things in terms of rhythms that you've kind of either put in place? Whether I feel like you're a routine oriented person. I'm
So
just getting that
routine,
from
yeah.
you. So, yeah, what are some of the things that you've kind of done to just keep things balanced?
Well, I'm trying to be better about balance. So I'm a very routine person. You like nailed it on the head. And I've had to really figure out like priorities because like obviously working like a 9 to 5 job and then doing like I've started doing more like brand deals and stuff. So having like to create content and then obviously spend time with my fiance and my family. I really have to like, in order to do everything, I've had to like carve out my entire like day,
Yeah.
week, month, which is why I've had to reschedule so
I
many
understand.
times.
I completely
Because
understand.
like my scheduling gets crazy, like trying to like balance everything. And so I literally map out like every hour. And this sounds like a little bit neurotic now that I'm like saying it out loud, but I literally map out
We like neurotic.
every like hour of the day, like from 1 to 2 p.m. I'm doing this, and then I'm like have lunchtime this time, I have this. I really have to like manage my time so that I can get everything done and I'm not like spinning at the end of the day, because there's no way I would be able to get through everything if I didn't work that way.
Well, what happens when life happens?
When life
how do you
happens,
respond to that?
I know it is hard when like life happens and throws things in the schedule, and I'm trying to be better about like being a little bit more like flexible when things don't turn out, like when things shift in the schedule or things like that. So TBD,
Yeah.
working on it.
But
Honestly.
what amongst your routine though, like are things that like keep you grounded, keep you focused? What
Yeah.
are things that you do on the daily?
I do hot yoga. I like do a lot of meditation, and I try to take a lot of like time for myself, because I realize that I'm actually a very like introverted person, and I get my energy from like recharging alone. Like even with AJ, like love him, but I also sometimes like need time away and like in my own thoughts.
Totally.
You hear that, AJ?
Like,
Sorry,
bro,
AJ, I
leave
love
me
you.
alone, bro.
But I do need my me time, and that's like the only. I also like I do a full like Korean like skincare routine at night, and I like try not to be bothered during that. Like it's like an hour of time where I'm just by myself, and like those moments where I'm like spending time alone are really like key for me.
Yeah.
And like
Now that
that's
you
how
mentioned
I
your
de-stress.
skin's immaculate.
It
It's pretty
is.
good.
Thank you.
Shout
I mean,
out Korean
there's a little
skincare.
bit of makeup on top today, but I do have I follow like a regimen.
I'd love
a
to hear what
routine.
that regimen. As a Korean person, I don't even know what a Korean skincare regimen
It's
is.
just like it can
Is it
be
with those
10
masks
steps.
and the
Yes, there's
exfoliating?
different versions of it, but you start off with a double cleanse. So you like take off all like the makeup or the SPF,
Take
and
some
then
notes,
you
fool.
do it,
All right,
and then you do
I
a
can
gel
skip step
cleanse,
1. Okay, yeah.
and then an essence and a serum, and then you do like masks, and then like moisturizer,
Serum.
all
Wow.
that stuff.
That sounds like a potion.
Yeah, that sounds magical.
That's like-
Yeah, you guys should get into it. It's good skincare.
Sounds like a
it's
lot of
in right
steps.
now.
Yeah,
It
okay.
is a lot of
I know.
steps.
Guys need to get, my skin's crazy. Anyway. But yeah, no, I love it. I love it. I think that self-care stuff is so important, whether that's, you're just your own personal pampering yourself
Yeah.
to, for me, my introvertedness is satisfied just my hour at the gym. And but it's like, see, Chad gets me. I don't like working out with people. I don't have workout buddies because I feel like they slow me down.
Thanks, man.
Are you his
Hey, I'll work out
workout
with
buddy?
you, though,
He's
Ann.
calling
That's
you
cool.
I'll work
out.
out with you,
That's
man.
cool. I'm with AJ over here in the corner, like, okay.
Hey, we're
that
introverts.
that 1 hour is the time that I like to just have my me time, where I could just like shut off and just go like machine mode. And then after that, I want to be around everyone.
Yeah.
So that's just my little pocket of my introvert.
I'm the same way because I'm an introverted extrovert. I'm not like always wanting to be by myself, but I like being social, but I definitely need like the me time. So that's like my hot yoga is like the gym time for you. And I like to go also by myself. So I'm not like on anyone else's time schedule.
Just to contribute to the conversation, I believe I'm considered a hypersensitive extrovert.
Oh, what does that mean?
Have you heard of that?
No.
Me neither.
What does it mean?
What do you think it means?
I don't know. It's something about being sensitive, but being an extrovert, but like having like certain introvert, like I'm a very homebody. I'm one of those guys where if I tell somebody I'm like, oh, dude, I'm kind of introverted, like all my friends yell at me like, no, you're not. You're an extrovert. Or start like vomiting on my face.
Oh my
like
God.
I've just like sinned or something blasphemous.
They're like, you're wrong.
Yeah.
You're not.
Yeah, I love it when people tell me I'm wrong, but yeah, no, but I'm a homebody. I love being at home. I also recharge at home. I also like need my own time, my own things. You know what I mean? But I feel like that's what same thing. That's what gives me the strength that I need in order to go back out there and do what I need to do and handle life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But you are an extrovert though. You feel like you get your energy from other people.
I think I'm a Gemini, so I think I have both properties to me.
Yeah.
I think absolutely yes. And I also think that there are times where like people exhaust me. You know what I mean? Like if I get into like a super crowded place, I'm like, I need to get out of here. Like people like mess with me sometimes. You know what I mean? So like I think I have both.
It's a lot.
And it's just any given day. And I'm okay with that. I don't really care. You know, like
you don't need to be put into a box.
Yeah, Anthony really enjoys people coming to him. So, but that's what makes me feel like you're an extrovert. You want to be around people, but not that you can't.
In my comfort zone,
right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm a little bit like that too. Like I like being around like my family, but I want to be like home, like in an environment that feels safe.
Yeah. I'm kind of. I think I'm just true extrovert. Like outside my little gym pocket, I go out by myself to be around people. But I'm not necessarily hanging out with them. I just enjoy people being around me, and
that's why we're friends. You know, I need people to come to me.
Yeah,
he needs to go out to people.
It
works.
Yeah, I get the energy from that.
Except for the gym part, but whatever.
Oh wow.
Okay, so we've gotten a chance to dive into obviously like a lot of the successes and great accomplishments that you definitely have, and again, fanboying over here. But let's talk about some of the struggles. Let's talk about some of maybe the harder parts. Whether it's very specific in terms of the projects that you've done with like Disney, or on the macro, just anything that maybe was a challenge for you, growing up, or something that led to whatever it is that you have become.
Yeah. I feel like a challenge that I have is a lot of like, again, like I'm talking again about the balance thing, and I'm still like figuring it out, but I get stressed out very like a lot. Like you were saying, like how do you handle when like things get thrown your way? I'm like, I don't handle it well. Like honestly, I don't. And because I'm so like routine, and it's something that I want to be better about is like being more spontaneous. But like you were saying, you balance each other out. Like AJ balances me out. Like he's like the very spontaneous, totally not routine guy. And like I am the complete opposite. Like I need a plan. I need things to happen. So like sometimes it like can clash at sometimes because he's like so opposite from me, but it's helped me become a little bit more like flexible and like spontaneous and not stress so much. Like he always reminds me or like knows, like tells me like he doesn't tell me to calm down, but he like knows how to calm me down in that way.
I'm smiling right now because I can only imagine what wedding planning with him must be like,
oh,
considering your personalities.
God. Yeah, the thing is he's a good like event planner because he's like planned so many events and like concerts in the past. So he has a lot of like, he has that experience. But we're definitely on two different, like I have the Google Sheets and he just has it in his head. Like, like he remembers things very well. And I'm the complete opposite. Like if I don't write it down or if I don't put it somewhere, it's going to be gone from the mind because there's like too much going on that I can't like focus on everything. But yeah, like that's a struggle of mine. And then, I mean, I've also gone through a lot of like imposter syndrome too. Like I mentioned before, like I feel like I thank you for saying that I come off as like very strong and confident, but I feel like I haven't always, like when I was like growing up, I always like, it was easy for me to tell myself like, no, like what makes you think you can do that? But I feel like the shift kind of happened in college where I started gaining more confidence. Because like when I like growing up and in high school, I feel like I always compared myself to other people like doing better than me.
That's everybody in high school, but yes.
Yes. And but like the shift kind of happened, I guess, in college. I don't even know exactly what it was that made the shift, but it was like a mindset change, and like just honestly like fake it till you make it, but also like work towards your goals, and
Totally.
things will just go into place.
You brought up now we talked about imposter syndrome twice. Just for the fans and followers listening right now, how would you define that?
I would like for me, it's like convincing myself that I'm not worthy, or that I'm not able to like accomplish something, or that I don't deserve something, where that's like not the case at all for like anyone. Like I feel like people, even when they're like applying for jobs and stuff, they're always like, oh, I don't have the qualifications. And I used to think that way all the time. Like, I don't have the qualifications for that job. Like, I won't even apply for it. But at the end of the day, like you most likely do have those qualifications. And like, I've had to convince myself, like, go for it. Ask for more money because you deserve that. Ask, like, don't, or like ask. Sometimes it's like tell and like, don't even ask. Like you should, I've had to like convince myself to know, like, you do deserve this. Like even like the Forbes thing, like you should go for this because you work so hard to help with like the Disney Launchpad stuff. Like you should go for it. So yeah.
Totally. I remember, I think, imposter syndrome is maybe a new term that I like kind of have been hearing a lot more and talking about and trying to think about my own as well. And I do remember there was a time where I was feeling certain things as well, especially in like the dance world and our community and stuff. Just even getting the opportunity to go overseas and like teach and whatnot, and being like, okay, I'm suddenly like teaching my choreography to like different students and whatnot. But struggling with that, like, do I deserve to be here? Are there like way better, you know what I mean, people that should be doing this stuff? That's a huge thing, especially as like an artist, right? As a creative, like you're in the subjective realm, you're always kind of like killing yourself, like thinking like, is this good enough? Like I got to do better than the last thing I created, blah, 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 blah. Right. So I feel like there was a moment that did click for me when I understood that there's always going to be somebody better than me, but there's always going to be somebody that's worse than me too. So like looking up or down doesn't really like mean anything because that exists in the world. But as long as you focus upwards, and I think I love the way that you said, you know, fake it till you make it, because we say that a lot too. I've definitely learned that from some of my own mentors, and with the caveat that you are going towards an authentic goal, something that you're just genuinely inspired by. So I love that we're actually talking about that, because I think a lot of people do have some version of that, and you know, it is always like complicated to be like, this is a syndrome. It sounds so
it sounds scary, and it's somewhat of like a trendy word that people just like throw out there.
But everybody does kind of have a feeling of it. So, you know, it is kind of good to recognize what that is, but also recognize it responsibly so that you know how to respond to it.
Right.
You know?
And I think it's something that doesn't ever really go away. It's not like, I used to have imposter syndrome, but now I don't. You know, I think it's, if you learn that that's just a part of how we feel challenged when we are presented with something a little bit new and scary. Just like you said, I don't have the qualifications for this job. Maybe because I've actually never actually done those things. Therefore, I've never done that. So I probably don't know how to do that. But let's say if I was presented with an opportunity, can you figure it out? Will I be able to figure it out? You know? And I think it's kind of that trusting in yourself that I've been here before. I've been challenged. I've been scared, and I have figured stuff out. That's how I've gotten to where I'm at today. So if I keep allowing myself to accept those challenges, even though I'm not sure if I can specifically do that thing right now, but I know that I will figure it out. And there's something actually that Anthony brought up that I remember. This is back in our Bangoria days when you were...
Bangoria is where I used to live.
Yeah, this is the OG house next to...
That's the name of that. Like,
it was just the name of the spot. We used to name all of our spots.
And this is when I had just moved back to LA, and I was just couch surfing on your guys' couch for a minute. and then you were choreographing, and then you sat down, and you were just kind of like in a just weird space. I was like, "What's up, dude?" And then you're just like, "Man, I feel like I suck." And I was like,
Aw.
"Wait, what?" You know, and I'm sitting here just watching. I'm like, "Oh, sick! This guy's killing it right now." And we had this conversation, and I'll give you the abridged version of it. But there was this kind of a moment where he was just like, "Man, I just feel like I not really on my game the way that it was." And then I was like, "What are you talking about?" Because from where I'm sitting, like you're one of the ones crushing it right now.
Yeah.
Because I'm just kind of not really in this. I'm not teaching as much. I wasn't teaching internationally and all that. I wasn't putting out a whole lot of content. I was just kind of, this is like fresh out of my Jabberwockies journey. And I was back in LA just being like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm just hanging out with my friends now. And then, I just kind of, I wasn't just trying to gas him up, but I was like, I don't know what you're talking about, because from what I see this. And then there was kind of a shift. And then he mentioned, I think it was Pat Cruz, that said, sometimes when I feel like I suck or I've fallen off or I just don't really have it, I take a look at the people who I'm surrounded by. And if I respect them, and if I think that they're good or they bring some sort of valuable thing to the table, and they choose to allow me to be around them, well, there's probably a reason why they're letting me be around them, because they view me in a similar light, that I am also of somebody that carries some either value or merit or just something that they want to be around. So anytime you doubt yourself, take a look at your circle. And if you can look at your circle and be like, dude, my circle is sick, then you probably are pretty sick too.
You gotta be all
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love that. No, yeah. I feel like that's definitely like good advice for people to like look around and realize like you're in good hands. Like and you maybe what you see is just all like the negative stuff, the things that can bring you down, but there's so much that other people see like that bring light to the world that that you just don't notice on a daily basis.
That's why it's also important to pick your circle very carefully and be around good folks.
Too.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I want to kind of get into? This is obviously a broad topic, but you're the one, so we gotta talk about it. Representation again, right?
Yeah.
Inclusion. That's kind of a big kind of thing right now. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't know where to go with it, but I just kind of want to talk about it and speak on it, like whether it be again your position at work, you know what I mean, and what that means, or whether it's just like the state of the world. Like I feel like a lot of people need to start talking about representation and inclusion, or a lot of people already are, but it's such a broad, like, what do we do with it kind of thing, you know what I mean? And I'm gonna speak vulnerably for a second. Like, like for example, even with us, we're like a very predominantly Asian, predominantly male crew. We got some ladies, we got some non-Asians, you know what I mean, but we are predominantly that. So even for us, during this time, we've done a lot of internal digging, done a lot of asking just questions and trying to figure out, like our place, because I think there was a moment where we kind of like sort of organically picked up the flag for Asian representation, even in our own dance culture and stuff like that. But then now I feel like we're in a little bit more of like this social tornado of like what that actually means to, I don't know, be a person that represents that well, or you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Talk to us. Like, let me know what you think and your thoughts and stuff.
Oh yeah, I have a lot of thoughts, and you are definitely like, you've not only like picked up the flag, but you've been that like representation. Like for me, when I was like younger and being able to see you guys like on TV, like you don't know like how huge like that is. Like, because when I was growing up, like I did not feel represented when I was watching TV, like even in music, movies, and that like when you don't feel represented, you don't feel like there's a place for you, or you don't feel like there's opportunities for you. And that's why I feel like representation and inclusion, diversity and equity is like so important, and so important to me, because like, especially we're seeing now, like there's more diverse stories coming out. Like Turning Red was such a good like Disney film that like was really great representation for Asian and Asian girls, and just all like young, adults, young teens. But we didn't have that like growing up, and I feel like it's always been important, but it's finally being talked about, and there's finally like actions behind those words. And yeah, I feel like it's the reason why it's so important for me is because there's so many people out there that just want to feel seen and heard, and to know that they have a place in this world. And like why I love working at Disney so much is because the impact of the weight that Disney stories have, and like the storytelling that we have on like younger generations and old generations, but especially like the younger generations that are going to, take these forms of content and stories into their like adulthood. Like they're going to be able to feel themselves represented on screen. So they think like, I can, I'm important. I can do all these things. I can be a superhero. I can be a princess. I can be a doctor, lawyer, whatever it is. And I feel like the weight of that is so like high. Like there's a huge impact in like seeing yourself represented.
You are so the right person to work at Disney for that.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of what you see on TV, and speaking of princesses, when you're singing as a princess on the Fox show, I Can See Your Voice. Can you talk to us a little bit about like how that even came about?
Oh my gosh, yeah. That was one of the like most nerve-wracking things I've ever done in my life, because I've never sang live on TV before, but they actually reached out to me from TikTok. So like AJ and I, during quarantine, we were bored like one day, and I was like working from home, and he started recording me like singing while he was playing piano.
I remember the video where he like turns the camera over his shoulder.
Yeah. And I had no idea that he was like, we do this all the time. Like just like I'm working or do whatever, we're just singing around the house. And one day he just like picked up the camera and started recording it, and he posted it, and it went viral on TikTok overnight. And with over like 10, I think it has like 10 million views or something. But from that TikTok, like the producers of this show called I Can See Your Voice reached out to me and asked if I would be interested in, joining their show. And I knew that it was like, I actually watched the first season, so I was a fan, and I knew like Ken Jeong was a part of it. So I was like, yeah, I'd be down.
Right.
And it was like, we filmed it like a long time ago. Like, well, I don't even know how long. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that, but anyway, we filmed it like in 2020 or in early 2021. So when it aired, like now that it's been like a month of it airing, it feels like such a long time ago. But it was one of like the most nerve-wracking things, because I was like singing as a princess, and like my younger self would have been like screaming and like dying at the opportunity to like sing on TV. Because I've auditioned for like American Idol and like The Voice before, but never even made it to even get a call back. So the fact that I was like reached out to and like kind of presented with this opportunity was like crazy to me. I was like, this is like what I've dreamed about since I was like a little girl.
And now you're making that dream as a representative for, Asian females out there, little girls that are also hoping for these opportunities.
Yeah, I
That's
hope
pretty
so.
Full circle right there.
I hope so. Because I like I said, like I didn't feel like I had that when I was younger, like especially like a Filipino like princess. And even though it was just on one like show, I hope that people felt like, it's attainable for them.
You know what I kind of see, which is in my head, it just looks really cool. Like you have this little girl dream of being a Disney princess and singing on TV, and then you accomplished it singing a Disney song, and then you're also like a boss at Disney. So you're like this embodiment of like the modern day Disney princess who's like running things, and also amplifying voices to give visibility to essentially people who have.
I love that. We got a modern day Disney princess.
Yeah, dude.
Here.
Like this is what I see in my head right now. Like this is crazy.
And it is. Thank you for saying that. Like it's definitely like what I never like even thought I could accomplish when I was younger, but it was always like a dream to like be doing what I'm doing right now. And sometimes I don't think about it in that way unless like, we're talking about it right now, but I don't think about, my younger self would be like so proud of like what I'm doing.
Yeah. You had mentioned that what was it? What was the exact way you were saying? I don't remember the exact way, but you were talking about how, like, you know, just like how when you were in marketing, it's not like you go to school for marketing, you're going to stay in marketing all your life.
Mm-hmm.
And then even now that you've kind of taken a slight step back with the next project with the Launchpad and stuff like that, you know, obviously your mind must be, you know, tinkling in other places. What's like a next step? What's a next goal for you, you know, whether it be career wise or just direction overall?
Yeah, it's a good question. I feel like the next step, I would love to, you know, even push it further, like on the creative side. Like I want to be creating my own stuff too. Like I would love to be like writing more, writing songs, writing more musicals. I mean, like my ultimate dream in life and goal, it would be to be like the Filipino Disney princess, like the voice of the next Filipino princess. That's on the vision board too.
You hear that, Disney? You hear that?
I feel like that's gonna happen.
That's on the vision
That's
board.
just gonna happen now.
Again, another crazy dream, but it's on the vision board, and I'm like working towards those goals now and like trying to like hone in on my like singing abilities, acting, and like all that stuff. Like that would be like the ideal next place for me. And I'm kind of in like the middle spot right now where I'm very still passionate about like amplifying those underrepresented voices, like you said. But I would love to, you know, for me, like a goal that I want for myself is to, you know, be that form of representation.
What is the, in your understanding, what is the Filipino princess story?
I don't know. And I feel like if I say it out loud, Disney would like not make it happen because they would be like,
Gotcha.
you know what I mean? But I mean, I do have like ideas. Like there's so much within like the Filipino culture that could be turned into like a movie or like a fantastical like world.
Yeah.
Because there's so much around like Christmas time. Like Filipinos, like they love like celebrating Christmas, very like religious like culture.
Yeah.
So there's stuff around that. There was also like an advertisement that came out a few years ago about it's called a parol, which is like a Filipino lantern. And there could be a whole storyline just about that. Or like another thing that Filipino
Chad's over here co-signing
nodding,
everything.
like
He's nodding.
intensely
Yes. Crazy
nodding.
right now.
Also, like Filipino, one thing that's very specific to Filipinos is we celebrate. It's 18, like a Filipino like debut, and that's when like a girl becomes a woman, and that could be its own. There's also a movie already about it with Dante Bosco called The Debut.
And
Arnell was in it.
Yeah. Oh my
He's
god.
sorry.
Oh my god. That's a good.
Yeah.
That's a good segue.
There
for the
we
next
go.
guest.
And here we go.
Here he is. But like, there's so many. I feel like I have so many ideas of what it could be, but we won't give away all those ideas.
Yeah.
For sure.
Like, Disney,
for
you'll
sure.
have to cut
You
a
just
check.
dropped a good offering of options there. So that's I could
Yeah.
totally see it happening.
Love
I could
that.
totally see it
It's gonna
happening.
happen.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
It's on
Put
the
it out
vision
there.
board. Manifesting
Put
it.
out there.
We'll put it on our vision board too, but Alyssa is gonna be.
Ah.
And she talked about it on our pod.
I know. Oh my god! Imagine
That'd be so sick.
that would be great. This is the
Dang.
first time I'm saying it out loud. Actually,
What?
I've
Double
said it-
manifestation.
well,
Here
I've
we
said it
go.
out loud with like friends and family, but like publicly
Yeah.
saying it out loud,
Yeah.
that's like, yeah.
I love it. Taking those steps. Well, speaking of just like, doing dope stuff and kind of breaking ground and opening up categories that, haven't existed but are so needed, and essentially just kind of showing that anything is possible, you know what I mean? And all these things that you were even talking about in terms of like, I don't know if that's even possible, if I even have, if it was, then like, would I even be considered, like,
Yeah.
all that stuff. These are all these what if questions. And I think, this day and age, like opportunities everywhere. And you said you, from auditioning for these shows and not even making it on, to being like, hey, we saw you on TikTok, we want you on TV, get it in a princess costume and just sing.
Nuts.
Like opportunity is, you create it, and I think that's the cool thing about things like social media and internet and all that kind of stuff, that you just never know where, like, who's gonna see you doing what. And and I think that's the cool thing about this day and age. And we talk about, I love just to hear about people's, like, whether did you go to school, did you go to college, like, did you follow the traditional path to, like, how did you go from there to this,
Yeah.
and then I just curious because of my own story, because I went from like going to college thinking that I was gonna go into like film or TV, which both Anthony and I went that path. And I was like, nope, I'm
Oh,
gonna
I didn't know
dance.
that.
You know,
We're UCI Anteater
Yeah.
Film and Media
Wow,
Studies
Zot,
majors.
Zot.
Zot,
You know?
Zot. Are you UCI?
I'm not, but
Oh,
my
okay.
brother went to UCI,
Okay.
and
I was
my
about to get
future
super
sister.
Zot by association.
Yeah, Zot by association.
Yeah.
I've been on the campus a few
Okay.
times,
Yes.
but I didn't go there myself.
Yeah, but so all of that, being said, I'm always curious to see, how, when you were a kid, you think I'm gonna go do this, and that's how I'm gonna be successful. And then as you live life, you just find yourself like, whoa, was I wrong? Or like maybe not was I wrong, but like it wasn't that. That was just the thing to like launch me over to this other thing, to this other thing, and then here I am.
Yeah, everything has a domino effect.
Yeah.
like happens for
So,
that reason.
With all the things, there's so much to acknowledge about you, and I think you've succeeded in a lot of ways in life. But personally, for yourself, I'd love to hear how you personally define success.
Ooh, I think for me, success is being happy and satisfied with what you're putting out in the world. Like, for me, success, I feel like I've achieved success when I'm doing what I am truly passionate about, and it's helping people, and I'm working towards that. I feel like it's such a big question. I feel like how to define success, but for me, it's like being happy and satisfied, just like doing what I love. Like that's, to me, is success.
Mm-hmm. I love it.
And like working towards working towards bigger goals.
Damn, you're hella successful then.
I mean, I hope so, and so are you guys. Like, I feel like success doesn't have to be like this like huge, big, grandeur thing. Like, it can be
Totally.
little things that are adding to like the bigger goals. Like, I feel like if you're constantly striving for success, you're never gonna achieve it. You just have to give yourself like grace in the areas that you've already achieved success. Like, I feel like I have achieved success in certain ways, but there's still like areas that I want to hit. But yeah.
Love it.
Great. It's real
So
good.
good.
That's really, really good. Well, in our movement in the shadows, we like to end our episodes with a fun little lightning round of questions.
Yay.
So we're going to just shoot them at you. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Sweet or savory?
Sweet. Team Sweet.
Team Sweet.
I'm very
Sweet.
passionate about Team Sweet. Wait, what about you?
I'm a savory.
Anthony?
She just closed herself off. Was
Yeah,
not
you saw
about
my
that.
body language.
Okay, I'm sweet and savory.
You can't
Are you
say
really?
Dude, no,
that.
I love
Are you
all,
really?
like, whether it be like chicken and waffle, sweet and sour sauce, like
Oh, I see what
you know
you're
what I
saying.
mean? Like
Like
I
you
literally
mean the
love
meals
both.
that satisfy both in the same
Yeah,
meal?
yeah,
Okay,
like that's literally peanut butter jelly sandwiches.
Oh,
like
yeah.
those are
Is that
literally
but
my
is that
favorite things.
sweet or savory to you? Like, what does it lean more towards?
I think it's the combo that is like what I really like.
You're
a
just
Gemini,
yeah,
dude.
you're definitely a Gemini.
You're putting me in a box right now. All right.
Okay, I know.
Okay.
It's a polarizing. It's a
Exasperated
polarizing question.
sigh.
It's a polarizing
polarizing question. What is your favorite 90s or early 2000s boy band?
In sync.
Nice.
I
What's your
know,
favorite
so quick.
Disney movie?
Mulan. I know. I'm like biased.
Then
but
I don't even need to ask this question.
That's
Favorite
pretty
Disney
good.
princess?
Mulan. I do
Okay.
love Jasmine too, though.
Yes, that's my
She-
favorite.
Oh, is it? Is she really?
Jasmine's my
Yeah,
favorite. Yeah.
love her.
All right, how about this? Least favorite Disney movie?
Ooh, I'm gonna get in trouble for that. No, I'm just kidding. Least favorite Disney movie? Cars. I was never into Cars.
Yeah, I wasn't a big Cars fan
I love
either.
like the Cars Land at Disney,
Yeah.
Disney California
Okay.
Adventure, but
But they had so many
Never into the
spin-offs
Cars.
of that. I think
They-
it was the
they
toys.
still are.
They sold a bunch of toys. So
Yeah.
Disney's like, we gotta keep
Cars are
cranking
cool.
these.
I mean, they are cool. I was just never into the movie.
Who's your favorite Disney prince?
Ooh, do I have one? I guess Aladdin.
Same.
Yeah.
Nice.
Aladdin's like, he's cool. He had like the open shirt too. Like, yeah, like he was like the sexy
Yo.
prince.
Yeah, he did. He was a little bare chested.
Riff-raff.
Yeah,
Riff-raff.
Riff-raff.
Okay.
Oh,
Exactly.
man.
I like that. I
wasn't
like that.
expecting that. That's honest. I love it.
That's why he's my favorite too.
That's same. He's the
Yeah.
buff, sexy prince. Favorite fast food restaurant?
In and out. Burgers. I just like the yeah.
I do love them too.
But not the fries.
You don't like the In-N-Out fries?
No.
Interesting.
I love
But I love
fries.
the In-N-Out
It's too
burgers.
potato-y for you?
No, they're just too soft.
That's
And
why you got to get them light well.
light well?
You never had that?
No,
Light well. Yeah,
I
so they
can-
got well done, they got light well, they got regular, they got light, and then they got straight potato, like not even cooked.
I never heard of light well.
You got to go
I'm gonna
light
ask
well.
for
It's
that.
like the best.
Okay.
I'm gonna try light well.
Sorry, I
next
didn't
time.
mean to interrupt. This is supposed to be lightning.
No,
huh?
I love to hear the explanation.
Lightning, light well, same thing.
Yeah.
Or how about this? An underrepresented culture, ethnic group, or race or whatever that you feel like Disney needs to put on.
Filipinos and South Asians. I feel like both within the Asian community need more representation in general, but definitely Disney. Like Disney needs to do better. Come on.
Yeah, let's get
There
on
it
it.
is.
What is your hidden talent?
Ooh, hidden talent. I don't. I'm trying to think of one. I can put both my legs over my head, so I'm like weirdly flexible.
Okay,
But
now you got to
no,
do it.
I can't. Oh my god, I can't do it
fine,
here.
fine,
Yeah,
fair,
you
fair,
don't have to
fair.
do that here. We're not
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
Or
do
just
that.
sing some more. No, just
Oh
kidding.
my gosh, that's the only hidden talent I can think
Yeah,
of.
that's a good one.
I don't
It's a good
really
one. I
have
love it. It's a good
hidden
one.
ones.
Pet peeves.
Loud chewing.
Loud chewing.
Yeah.
Same. It's not attractive. It's not hot.
Not like Aladdin.
Yeah. No, Aladdin. I don't think he's a loud
No, he's
chewer.
not a loud chewer. He's definitely not. He has class. What is your guilty pleasure?
Watching reality TV.
Ooh,
Which show?
Yeah, what's the one?
The Bachelor is like the trash TV that I love to watch.
but
But I also
Okay.
love like Love is Blind.
Love is Blind was good.
Yeah, those were like
Yeah.
the two big ones that I'm like super into.
Okay.
something about AJ that nobody knows.
Ooh, nobody knows.
She's like, he's a loud chewer.
Oh my god, he pops his pimples.
Oh.
Yeah.
I watch
an-
pimple popping videos.
Do you like those?
It's hard to say I like, but it's one of those things where you know when something's like you can't turn away.
Yeah,
It's like that
it's a
for
train
me.
wreck.
Yeah.
Just gotta keep watching.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
and
it's
then
like-
you know YouTube does that algorithm where you start
Yeah.
just clicking the next
No,
one and the next
no,
one. Yeah, I'll
can't
watch
do
those
it.
things like crazy.
I can't do it. I don't like. See, I'm about the skincare. Like,
Yeah.
you need to not. Don't touch it.
Oh,
Do you
okay.
pop his pimples?
No. I tell him not to do it. He does it all the time. I feel bad. I gave him a bad one. I'm trying to think of a positive thing that people don't know.
No, that's good. We're done with
He's
AJ.
very
It's not his fault.
nice and passionate and kind.
Yeah, sure, why not? Why not?
Shout out AJ.
What is your least favorite quality about yourself?
Oh, that I stress out over little things. Like I sweat the small stuff, and you're not supposed to do that.
mhm. What's your superpower?
That I am a super manifester.
Super manifester.
I just made that up
Last time you cried.
yesterday.
Why?
I cry a lot. From stress.
From stress?
Yeah,
Stress.
literally like wedding stress.
Oh,
I know. Wedding planning is fun, but it's stressful.
What de-stresses you?
Hot yoga, meditation, self-care, getting a massage.
Ooh, I love massages.
And an
love
hour-long Korean skincare program.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
Yeah, a lot of self-care stuff. If you could see something less of in the world and also more of in the world, what would those two things be?
Wait, less of and
So
more of
I would love
separately?
to see less of this, and I would also want to see more of this.
Less judgment and more empathy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This, you know what? Every single time we ask somebody that question, it's like roughly the same thing, and it
Yeah.
just revalidates and inspires me every time. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I know the answers come in, and I still need to hear it. Every
I
single
know.
time.
I mean, everyone's feeling the same thing. Like
Yeah.
we know it needs to happen.
Well, speaking of that, then, like with this sort of cancel culture, I think we're kind of out of the lightning woods now. But with the cancel culture that we live in, like,
Mhm.
what do you actually feel should be gone and should be canceled and should be removed in our culture?
Ooh. Should be canceled. I'm trying to think. I guess like I don't know. something that needs to be canceled, because there's like, it's hard to pick some like one big thing. I mean, this sounds so like dumb, but like racism and like hate, like that definitely needs to be canceled.
You're allowed to say that.
Okay.
You hold position that like enforces those things in representation.
Yes, and also like I also think like I'm trying to think of the right like way to say it. But I also think we need to I can't think of the right words, but I'll leave it at that.
Yeah,
like,
no, I think it speaks for itself.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, I definitely love that. So we'd love to entertain the concept of mastering something, whether that's a philosophy for yourself, whether it's an actual physical skill. And most people don't feel like they're masters of anything, because I think, most people that we talk to tend to be pretty humble. But I think everybody has an ability to master something. And Bruce Lee has this famous quote. He says, "I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times." So the concept of just focusing on one thing and really just putting in the effort, putting in the hours to learn even just one thing. What is something that you feel that you've mastered in life?
I feel like I've mastered knowing how to get myself what I need. Like when it comes to like setting myself goals, or like knowing like my like boundaries, like speaking for myself, like using my voice and setting that. I think that's something I've mastered.
That's
It's
great.
like it's not really like the typical answer, I feel, but
That's why I love it.
We could all use a little bit more mastery in that.
Yeah,
I think
for
as an
sure.
adult, that gets actually kind of tough sometimes. You know what I mean? Both setting boundaries and like knowing how to speak on it from a place that like you're okay with. That's like a really powerful tool.
Yeah. And also one other thing I'll add is like using my voice, whether that's like using my voice to speak, not necessarily like on behalf of other people, but like where there's not someone in the room that's being represented, like speaking on behalf of other people, and then like passing the mic as well. I think that is something that we need to do more of, like using our voice and then like knowing when to like pass that on.
Yeah, that's really important.
Yeah, we are incredibly inspired by you. Like, again, everything that you do, everything that you represent and who you represent as well, like to really just put in a perspective again, for you to be doing literally the types of projects like Launchpad that you're doing at a company like Disney that has so much impact and influence over everyone. Like, that is Ben said it best, your modern day Disney princess. You know what I mean? And that kind of impact and influence is so important, especially in today's age. So like what you're doing, you are a superhero. And we just want to thank you for penciling us into your schedule.
Oh my God, stop.
And making sure that we could fit at some point.
Oh my
We
goodness.
appreciate it.
Because
Thank you
being
for
here
having
is
me.
really inspiring and impactful for us too. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you. And thank you
so
for
much.
providing like an opportunity to like talk about it. And
Of course.
yeah, I really respect and appreciate you both.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Where can people follow your journey? What you're working on? You got a podcast? Plug all
Oh,
the
yeah,
things.
yeah. So you can find me personally, Instagram and TikTok mostly, Alyssa, ALYSSUGH. But me and my fiance AJ, we do a podcast, Sweet or Savory Pod. It's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. And we also have, I will plug a Filipino streetwear brand called Mayate.
Hey, let's go.
Sick.
That me and AJ kind of like started and are running that business too. So those are like the three main things.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll plug that stuff. in
I'm
the
guessing
show.
Thank
AJ
you.
Savory.
Yeah, unfortunately. That's what started the whole podcast, is like we didn't realize that we were so different on a lot of things. Like we knew, but like things like that we never really talked about.
I've listened to a few of the segments. There's some hot takes.
Hot takes.
The one when you're taking a shower, are you facing the shower head? Are you facing away? And the reasoning behind that, I'm like, wow, that's very kind of telling about the way that someone thinks even.
It
What do you do?
is.
You face the shower, you face away?
I face the shower.
You do.
Yeah, I face
do
the
too.
water.
See, you do the Will Smith thing, right? Where you just stand there all buff and
It's
sexy.
not-
Oh my
it's not as
God.
sexy.
It's just like it's a spa
Yeah,
experience.
I like the just getting rained on versus like, I don't know. It just feels more, I'm into the shower.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
So are you a face?
I'm not even gonna share my answer. It's polarizing as well.
Come
I
on,
do
You're-
both. I
no.
spin around.
Oh my
Just
God.
the whole
Both
thing.
on
Existing.
everything.
What's wrong with that?
Spin around.
Nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
What are you? Face
I
or
face
away?
the shower because
Face
it's a
the
spa-like
shower.
experience.
Yeah, okay.
I like to feel the water like running down.
See, for more content like this, go to the Sweet or Savory,
Savory
Pod.
Pod.
Where you can
We have
Get
Instagram
get all these
too.
hot
Yep,
takes.
Yep.
Yeah. Cool.
Well, close it out, buddy.
Yeah, so guys, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode. If you guys found this one for the first time and this is a brand new podcast to you, we have a lot more episodes before this one. So go back, listen to our old episodes. We have amazing people with amazing stories. If you dig what we do here, hop onto your podcast platforms, hop on iTunes, leave us a 5-star rating, write us a review. Write whatever you want. Just say hi or let us know what we're doing well, who you want us to bring on in the future episodes, yada yada yada. Follow us on socials, KINJAZ Podcast, Cast with the K, IG, Twitter, Facebook, all the things. If you're watching, you already know we're on YouTube. If you're listening, these episodes will be available on our YouTube channel, The Kinjaz, youtube.com/The Kinjaz. And that's it. Thank you guys for tuning in and spending time, and we'll see you guys next time.
And Kinja Bang.
Kinja Bang.
Kinja Bang. Oh, I love the Kinja Bang noodles, by the way.
Oh.
I think like you guys sent some to AJ. They're bomb.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we'll send some to you and specifically say
Yeah,
don't feed
and
AJ.
can't have any.
Thank you. Thank you.
Peace out.
All right, we out.